much for a show where I will not at all be distracted by the ongoings of the ALDS where the Yankees were winning last I checked. But we've got some ROH to talk about tonight. SP3 and I in agreement that I think this was a much stronger episode than the past couple weeks of what we've been getting. Hopefully a symptom of them finding their rhythm post the Texas tapings back into live shows. But we have so much to talk about in general. If there's anything that you would like to discuss, please send in a super chat. It helps us out. Please leave a thumbs up on this video as well. It helps people find us in the algorithm for sure. Tonight you will have Cresta and Joel on the back end of this for your TNA post show as they work toward Bound for Glory. So stay tuned for that, but we will also remind you to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com, where not only is there contract news breaking all the time, not only is there so much happening, not only is there information about the beef between Chris Jericho and MVP getting squashed after MVP knocked him out on his own boat, which is the funniest shit I've ever heard.
Lovely. I think you mute. Did you mute yourself? Yep, I think you did. There you go.
I did mute myself. I think I screamed so loud into my own mic, it was like, calm down, Kate. Relax.
It was Chris Jericho working from his learning tree lair. He was like
under the tree. That's what he said. But in addition to all of that on FightfulSelect.com, in addition to Alex Pulowski and I doing paywalled PLE and pay-per-view post shows, we also have the Fightful Select Discord where Shawn was testing the waters and just said Penelope in the chat the other day. It was the return of Penelope Ford, which is excellent news. This roster, these injuries getting cleared up is nice, both on the men's and the women's side. Switchblade coming back, reports of Cole coming back imminently, Yuka Sakazaki coming back, Penelope here, so full steam ahead for the AEW picture, but we're talking some ROH tonight. I'm joined, as always, by the wonderful SP3, who is with us in the house. What's going on?
I am doing well. I was much more positive about this show for like two major reasons. It's a madman, you know. I got to see the Gabe Kid on
He's
on
the
Ring
best,
of Honor.
man. I love that guy so much.
The breakout star of New Japan Pro Wrestling for 2024. I'm putting in my ballot, my vote early for the Fightful Awards. He's one of the breakout stars of the year and one of my favorites in New Japan Pro Wrestling. One of the most authentic and believable talkers in the game, especially on the New Japan side, and seeing him on Ring of Honor was excellent. And then also got to see one of my favorite Ring of Honor matches of all time. I said it on Twitter, I'll say it here. The match that made me go to my first ever independent show, ROH Final Battle, is I got the DVD for Glory by Honor 2006 with Kenta versus Bryan Danielson. And I just had a big smile on my face the whole time rewatching that. I was watching it like it was live. It was in the moment. I was living vicariously through those people in the Hammerstein.
Definitely better placement as far as where this sat on this episode. I thought that was a better call to stick those at the end. We're going to get into all of this and more. I see the numbers going up, and we appreciate that as you're tuning in, but a lot more to talk about with this episode. My only things were kind of overall, especially, and there's very little control that they had over this, like Anthony Hendry unfortunately hurt. So the Gabe Kid shot, awesome. The match really good, but unfortunately on the ROH side of things, Anthony Hendry no longer cleared. This guy's been healthy his entire career and just had a really rough 2024. So our healing thoughts and our empathy goes out to him, because that is rough physically and mentally, emotionally after he worked to come back. Obviously, it's going to affect things with beef moving forward, which I'm sure is a huge issue for SP3. And the only other part of this was we did get our champion back around, which was really nice. But unfortunately, like, you know, when he has a match set up for WrestleDream, we kind of know what this looks like already, right? Like, this is kind of something that's so obvious. But I can't have my cake and eat it too, right? Like I've been wanting my champions back around. They are back around on the program. Just feels kind of like the result's inevitable when he has a match for a pay-per-view this weekend against Chris Jericho. What were your thoughts on all this?
I really enjoyed this show outside of the, those two major reasons, like I said, why I enjoyed this show more. I felt like there was some story building going on this
Yes.
episode. So that made it a lot better. A person that we basically talk about every week. Why haven't they followed up on things with like Shane Taylor finally getting some type of story? And it involves another people that you every week say, what are we even doing with these guys in the infantry? And the fact that they combine those two stories together, I'm gonna hold out. Maybe it's false hope, false optimism that they can follow up on this, because there was a certain part of the show where I was just like, what happened to the Iron Savages versus Outrunners feud? They just dropped that completely. Like, how they're Iron Savages over here with Dark Order. Okay, let's see where this go. And any show that starts off with a emergency MIM meeting and it's event planning by Lexi Nair, I think it's a good show. It's going to be a good show overall.
I agree with you on that. So let's talk about our emergency MIM meeting that we got kicking off the show. SB3, I recently discovered something about myself, and it's that I hate the word vignette. I have to say it, because that's what these are in wrestling. But the word vignette is nonsense. And we're gonna talk about this episode, but let me tell you why the word vignette is nonsense. How do you look at that? It's kind of like the word kernel. How would I look at that? I don't care if it's French, I know that. How would I look at the word vignette? Is it pronounced vignette? Knock it off. Ridiculous. But we do have a vignette here. I realized this Monday and I've been on a tirade ever since, but we have Lexi Nair and Athena chained together to protect each other from Abaddon, which is so great. And then after Billie Starkz leaves, because she's over this, Lady Frost comes into the picture to confront Athena, and she says that she was scared, but that leads Athena to accidentally challenging Lady Frost for next week. And Ian Riccaboni reveals that match was made official. So some good stuff. I like that while we have things going on with Abaddon, we're also weaving in more challengers because it feels like this title reign kind of stalled. Like, we see the long-term picture going on with Billie Starkz. We see the feud building with Abaddon. But, like, none of them were fully taking shapes. They're just, like, these little snippets that we get every week. So to have another challenger rise up for it to be someone like Lady Frost, I think is a really good thing. How did you feel about how we kicked off the show tonight?
Yeah, I thought this was a fun way to kick off the show. Athena is so good at just playing any type of role she's played as a ROH Women's World Champion, whether it be the confident, cocky champion, whether it be kind of underestimating her opponent, or whether it be being scared of her opponent. I think that she has played all these roles very well. The only problem I have with Athena, and I usually don't have any problems with Athena, but why do you want Ja Rule for your celebration party? I'm sorry. As a New Yorker, as a kid that grew up and was a teen in the 2000s, we all chose 50 Cent. We all chose 50 over Ja Rule. So if you ask for 50 Cent at your celebration, that's one thing. But asking for Ja Rule, you got Lexi, trying to talk to Ja Rule's people. Ja Rule don't got no people. Irv Gotti done left him a long time ago. Ashanti don't even hang out with the dude. Like, what are we talking about? Come on, Athena. You're better than that. You're better than that, our fallen goddess. But outside of that, I like Billie playing her role. Lexi Nair is just so funny in this role. Just her just doing all that was great. I like Lady Frost getting involved in this as well. So, and I absolutely adored Athena calling Abaddon a bandit. I popped so much, and we had time to watch. I had time to watch that segment again, and she said a bandit. I nearly lost it. I had to go to the bathroom and compose myself because I laughed so much.
Especially because what she's doing is abandoning Billie Starkz. It's a slip of the tongue, okay? She's foreshadowing for us all, but I agree. These segments are a fun way to kick off the show, and it's a fun way for us to kick off our show, just like it is when you guys are chatting us. Lord Kev sending a chat. We thank you so much, Lord Kev. Lord Kev is always so supportive of us. He's always showing love and tweeting out links about our broadcast that we have here at Fightful. He's supported our community so much. We appreciate him, as has just Ricardo saying True Heel Bangs. I like that.
That's our tag team name.
We do. We finally have a tag team name. Love you guys. I'll see myself out. Thank you so much, Ricardo. I mean, Norma saying, hello, SP3 sis. I don't know if I get that one. Do I get that one? And Minion 690069, I got that one. Let's crank. Ring of Dark Elevation actually had champions on it, though no ground was proven. We saw beef existing. We sure did.
Beef.
We love our beef. I am a little worried about what is to come for him with Anthony Hendry bringing out, because that's his cousin. I don't know if you knew that, SP3, but that is his cousin.
Did you hear the fans chanting, he's his cousin?
It's so good. So good. Thank you guys for the chats up front. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
On all shows, especially this one. You guys keep us going. But man, oh man, was I excited when I saw that this got set up. Gabe Kidd versus Anthony Hendry with beef, of course. I was like, this is the S that I like. This is 4K. This is if it's not techerness, it's this kind of stuff. Hard hitting, great stuff. Gabe Kidd, you said it. Breakout star of 2024 for New Japan. Arguably one of the biggest breakout stars across all of wrestling. Not to plug my own stuff, but I did a media breakdown of him because he was in an interview. And I don't even think he realizes how good he is at this kind of stuff, but he was so unbelievable in promoting the event that they had coming up that I was blown away that my publicist brain was just going off and off and off about, like, this guy should be the poster child for your company. SP3 letting me know that I'm having audio issues that I didn't know about, so let's see what we can Better, maybe? Better here?
Yes.
Better
much
here?
Better.
Okay,
I was
sorry.
I was like, I don't want to say it. Let me just type it.
I appreciate that. I just have no chill, so what you see is what you get. But what we saw in this match,
Jericho is cracking into the Fightful database.
He's hacking my internet. He's like, I hear what you're saying about me, lady. I heard
Save
you.
Us, Y2J. Save us.
He's like, I heard all the S you talked on the Tuesday show. I heard it. I buried the learning tree on Tuesday. I was so over it. My God. But I loved what we got out of this match as well. Anthony Hendry's so good. I'm so heartbroken for him, first and foremost, about his injury. But I'm bummed for me as a fan, too, because I just love watching this guy work. He's so good. But you have Gabe Kidd retaining here with that snap pile driver. He's just a hard-hitting SOB, man. I absolutely adore watching Gabe Kidd work. Going up against someone like Anthony Hendry, too. SP3, we watch a lot of New Japan. I feel like Anthony Hendry was a very different type of challenge.
Yeah, it was different from all his previous, matches that he's had for the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship. His last title defense, you were there live for him and Lio Rush, which I thought was a great matchup that not a lot of people were talking about.
Unbelievable.
Should have been talking about that matchup.
Could have been your match of the night, and I wouldn't have argued. And that was include Momo versus Mercedes, Zach versus Teton. Like the Zack Sabre Jr. Tekker Sicko was still like, nah, Gabe Kidd and Lio Rush was it, though. That match was unreal.
I loved it, but I think Anthony Hendry was a different type of guy who is kind of the smaller build, like Lio Rush, but can have more of that physical, hard-hitting matchup that Gabe Kidd absolutely loves. He thrives in it. Gabe Kidd is like Tomohiro Ishii with a bad attitude, and he's from England. Like, he just loves to get hit hard. He loves to hit hard back, and he loves to trash talk all day long. And him getting on the mic and talking crap about the fans and talking crap about everybody in the back. That's the Gabe kid that I absolutely adore. This guy is just made to be a top star in whatever company he's in. And whenever he comes around, he just has that star aura to him. And the finisher, he calls it the drill a hole power driver, the leg trap power driver. And I love the fact that he went to that because he has two really, really good finishers, because he tried for the Madman Bomb, the gut wrench power bomb that he started doing in the G1, but Anthony Henry was able to reverse. And it wasn't even like there was like a little reversal or anything. He was just like, all right, you won't let me do that? Let me do my other one. Boom. It's right on that.
I loved that wasn't like a sequence. It was just like, that didn't work, let me try this other thing. That was actually a very fun match ending. Really, really liked what we got here. Love Gabe Kidd. I know Shawn said that he's just one of his favorite interviews too. Like, just, he really is a top star wherever he goes. I love how much crap he talks about WWE and AEW. It's just fun. But I also have kind of been rooting for this for a while. I don't know if I talk about it on here as much, but I probably should. I would love to see some sort of formalized partnership between New Japan Strong and ROH, because I think they could both really benefit from it. I really, really do. I think both talent pools crossing paths could be really, really fresh. If you're not going to have ROH champions around, if you have a partnership, you have all those strong titles that, quite frankly, New Japan Strong needs challengers for. They're not a weekly show anymore, right? So I really think there's some very healthy things that could come together from a partnership. I understand that AEW has a ton of moving pieces right now, but it's something that I would really like to see, even just from the talent mix-up perspective. Like, those Strong shows are incredible. And if they had somewhere to go kind of on those in-between beats, I feel like them and ROH crossing paths would be so much fun. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I would really enjoy that, especially because considering who are the strong champions, outside of Mercedes, we've pretty much seen them already coming over to Ring of Honor. We've seen TMDK over here in Ring of Honor in the past. We've seen now Gabe Kidd coming over, and Gabe Kidd, like I said, he just has that star aura, so he brings you another star over to Ring of Honor that we want to get eyes on Ring of Honor. So having like the NJPW Strong. I see in the chat someone mentioning Rev Pro is another company that AEW has like this loose relationship with. You want to bolster up Ring of Honor in a good way, and I think that adding those type of stars, another thing that might go a long way was the question that Tony Khan was asked during the AEW Wrestle Dream media call about splitting the roster, and I think that I don't even want them to split the roster between Dynamite and Collision. Split the roster between, if you're going to have a Shockwave show, have a certain amount of talent for that. And then the supplemental, put some draft picks on Ring of Honor. You've been asking for it for months, for a year now. Okay, like, we need some dedicated people here in Ring of Honor. And there are people on the roster that you're not going to use on your Dynamite, your Collision, and potentially Shockwave that can become stars here on Ring of Honor if they just are, here to stay, and not somebody that you just do like one or two matches with and then you decide, oh no, I want to put them on AEW. Let's have some dedicated people here to build the brand and make people want to watch Ring of Honor for those stars.
Yeah, and it was also revealed on that media call, I'm so glad that you brought it up, that ROH was not included in the rights deal. It does seem like, not to forecast anything, but like, if they're trying to go back to the Jericho playbook, which didn't work the first time around, but if they are going to do a New Wave run, like, that tells me maybe they are trying to shop this around a little bit, or, I don't know how that looks, because you have to have a proof of concept, and the concept has to be good. But they don't seem to want to put a full creative effort behind things until maybe they have a TV deal. So it's a bit of a chicken egg with that regard. And I do think a partnership or tapping into those looser relationships, like you said, with Rev Pro and things like that, are something that could be good. And New Japan in particular, they're not weekly episodic, right? So like, give those guys somewhere to keep fresh, keep on people's minds, be a marketing tool in America, because Lord knows that New Japan needs that right now. Like, I feel like their Western presence is very quiet at the moment. So I think that could be really, really fun. Part of it's selfish because I love TMDK. I don't want to see him everywhere, and I love Gabe Kidd, and I want to see him everywhere. So to your point, same thing, but like we got something today, but we talk week over week how it feels like the infantry has nowhere to go. Challenging TMDK for the strong titles is somewhere to go. Like, you can create more avenues for people that way. But guys, thank you so much for the support. I'm seeing the numbers climb, and we really appreciate that you guys tune in. I know not all of you watch ROH or TNA, and that you're here to talk with me and SP3, get caught up on stuff. So we appreciate that so much. We appreciate the support. So please leave a thumbs up on this video. Feel free to send in a super chat if there's anything you want to talk about ROH related. Yeah, this was great. Gabe's Kentucky accent was killing me. From a product perspective or AEW, like, those relationships are good to know, but
so do we both? I wanted to get this out the way because we might forget to talk about it when we get to the main event. Are we both under the belief that we're getting the Nueve? Because I am. I've just accepted that they're going to redo the Claudio Castagnoli feud from 2022, and Jericho's going to win on Saturday, only to lose it at Final Battle to Mark right back, probably.
Once I saw that was not on the 0 hour and was on the main card, I was like, yeah, I think that's what's happening. Especially, like, I had been thinking that all along, and then when I saw that, I was like, yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. I also think it actually makes a world of sense if you are going to have it be a short title reign and the learning tree splits up and you have Brian Keith or Big Bill become an ROH champion. Like, if the forest through the learning trees, as it were, is that Brian Keith or Big Bill becomes your champion, I have way less of a problem with it. I just don't need a Nueve extended run at freaking All. Feeling Dreepy saying, manifesting a Shibata versus Gabe Kidd title match. Holy heck.
Please, because he's been building this on his own in New Japan. Though if you saw his match with Zack Sabre Jr. In the G1, they had a whole sequence where they sat down like Shibata and started doing the slaps. So Gabe has been building his Shibata because Shibata was his trainer in the dojo, in the LA dojo. So he wants the Shibata match probably more than any match with anybody on the AEW roster. Let's do it at Final Battle. Just get it out there. We're going to put it out in the universe. We got to manifest it. We got to give it a spot to happen. Final Battle. Gabe Kidd, Shibata, NJPW Strong Openweight Championship.
I almost feel like Gabe Kidd just decided that's what he wants, so he just started building that, whether that match was going to get set or not. Like, that's how real that guy feels to me, is like, it feels like they don't have, like, I don't have a plan for it, but I'm just gonna bully them into giving me it, which honestly at this point he deserves. We got a nice cheer bits coming in from Cyclops. Thank you so much. Saying you'd have to pay me to watch ROH. I'm just here for the vibes. Thank you so much. We'll take the vibes. This is a much better episode. I think the inconsistency is probably the most frustrating part. SP3 in general is like, we'll have 2 weeks that make absolutely no sense, and then we have something like this week, which was a really solid television show.
Yeah, that's the issue, is that I don't want to get my hopes up sometimes. Like, I've been burned
too many times. We're such scorned lovers over here. It's so brutal.
I've been burned too many times.
I know. So I can't keep going back.
But I do want to live in the moment, and I do want to be happy when the show is good.
It's true. Tonight. It's true, because, like, that's the other thing. There are definitely podcasts out there that are out to complain, but we just want what's best for the talent and the promotion. Like, I would not have a co-host on here that didn't feel that way. We both love the Ring of Honor brand. We both see the potential and the talent that is being wasted week over week, and that's what's so frustrating. Like, we know what they're capable of because we've gotten to see flashes of it on ROH, which is maddening when they don't follow through with it. So we're not here to be cranky, but sometimes they make us that way. Me Norma saying it's spooky season and Athena is feuding with Abaddon. Ava? Any chance that feud makes it to AEW TV? Kate, do you get notes from the meetings? So I actually have a bad habit of just not doing those media calls. And it's not because I don't get credentialed for them. Usually somebody at Fightful is on those. Oftentimes Shawn just makes those calls. Sometimes Jeremy Lambert does because he's covering them anyway. I just always forget. Like, I always think of like the media scrums after, and then I always forget. And it's also in the middle of an afternoon, which is not always the easiest time to jump on them. So I'm just a silly goose and forget. So I don't get notes for those meetings. They are on Fightful YouTube. The audio is available. And Shawn's Twitter thread usually has like, this person asked this question. This was Tony Khan's response. So you can go check those out as well. But let's keep moving along this episode of Ring of Honor. Thank you guys so much for the chats tonight. We really do appreciate it. Brandon Cutler coming out to the ring to cut a promo bragging on behalf of the Elites and then issuing an open challenge. A death wish as your New Japan Never Openweight champion and your New Japan Cup winner Katsuyori Shibata is here for that, and also your former ROH Pure champion as well, of course. So this goes the way you think it would. Katsuyori Shibata beats Brandon Cutler with the PK. I'm so glad that AEW picked up Shibata and is giving him room to safely spread his wings in this stage of his career. It's really, really, really cool just to get to see him wrestle. But this was when my wheels started to turn about Gabe Kidd, for sure. Was like this part right here. I was like, oh, those two are both on the same program and not in the same picture. Make it happen. Make it happen for me, but make it happen for Gabe because it feels like he wants that. But Brandon Cutler just seems to be floating around in his own Brandon Cutler world. God bless him for this. What did you think of this part of the show?
I literally, at this point of the show, I looked up. I was like, I feel like I've seen this before. I feel like I've seen Brandon Cutler come out on a Ring of Honor show, talk about his EVPs, make an open challenge, and he proceeds to be squashed by somebody. Yeah. And then I looked it up, and I was like, oh, yeah, the last time I saw him was against Preston Vance, where he did this same thing. So at least this time he issued a challenge to a former champion. And I instantly, when he made the challenge to a former champion, without even reading spoilers, I was like, Shibata maybe? And then Shibata came out, I was like, oh, I'm good. So Shibata getting the win before he challenges for Jack Perry. And I 100% agree with you. Like, Shibata versus Jack Perry at Wrestle Dream is not high on my list of matches I'm looking forward to. I'm actually not really looking forward to it because of how it just felt like haphazardly put together. But I also am of the thinking of, like, we weren't supposed to get any of this from Shibata. Shibata's career was supposed to be over 7 years ago, and the fact that we're able to see him wrestle, it's a gift. And if it leads to, Shibata maybe losing and setting up, Daniel Garcia as the next challenger for the TNT Championship, I think after Tuesday's show, that's kind of everybody is seeing. That's kind of the direction that they're going, that Daniel Garcia is probably going to be the next up for the TNT Championship. If it leads to that, I'm fine with that. But now the Super Chat donation about manifesting for Phil and Drippy, I'm on the Shibata Gabe Kidd hype train. That's Final Battle 2024, please.
I am as well. I was actually talking to a friend of mine earlier today. We were talking about the Wrestle Dream card and how we want thinner cards for something like this. Like you said, a lot of this card was created haphazard. But I think most people have an overarching complaint that we're seeing too many champions challenge other champions. And so it's good to build up this mid card. Like, it is good to have matches like Darby Allin beating Brody King, I'm assuming, because of things like that. Like, you want people to stay fresh, you want people getting wins. But I think you're right. Part of what zapped my excitement for this is, one, how haphazardly it was thrown together, and two, it became very clear that Daniel Garcia, like, they're thinking past Wrestle Dream with this, right? They're thinking Daniel Garcia is getting set up, which I don't necessarily hate, and I think it's going to be a really fun challenge for Jack Perry too. It's a different wrestler that he's ever faced before, so I think that's going to be very fun. But yeah, I think I think the use of Shibata has been mostly pretty good, and this was fine. This was silly. This was what it was. But
this is exactly, if I told you Brandon Cutler versus Shibata is exactly how you would think a Brandon Cutler versus Shibata matchup would have went. And I'll say it here. I've said this a couple of times now, and I'll say it here. Wrestle Dream was like you're a high school kid, and it's finals week. You got a final in history. You got a final in math. You got a final in English, and then all of a sudden it's a Thursday afternoon, and you're like, oh, damn, I got a science final on Friday. That's Wrestle Dream for Tony Khan. He said, I got Grand Slam over here. I got the 5-year anniversary over here. Damn, we're going head to head with NXT Title Tuesday. I don't really care about that. You can tell by the show. I don't really care about that. But damn, we got a pay-per-view on Saturday too. Oh my God. Oh,
and
let me put
just
this
for
all
fun,
together.
We're gonna throw a freaking hurricane into this too.
Let's throw a hurricane. Let's do our TV rights deal that we've been building to for a whole year. Damn. Okay. Let me. Okay. Oh, all right. And then or you've like wrapped gifts for all your loved ones. See, me being a father, you're wrapping gifts for your daughter. You're wrapping gifts for your son, and you're like, oh damn, I forgot to get the wife one. And then you're running. That's Wrestle Dream. Wrestle Dream is the wife.
Try to find something at like a Walgreens, a candle or something. Yeah, you gotta get it together. But that's a really good point, and something I've been saying too. Of like, All In was in August. And we've had All In, All Out, Grand Slam, the 5-year anniversary show. They're probably planning for the Continental Classic. They're probably figuring out how they're going to shift into whatever the new programming slate is going to look like. So it's been a lot. One thing that I noticed for this rushed build kind of broke my heart just because this last year was the most important match to me that I've ever witnessed live in Zack Sabre Jr. versus Danielson.
Yes.
And, it was an Inoki tribute show, right? Like, this does not feel like an Inoki tribute show.
It really feels like they should have just done that last year and not done it this year.
Yeah, and now that they've got these international shows a little bit more under control, I'm intrigued to see what the cadence looks like. But I will say, Wrestle Dynasty had a rushed build, and the work rate was so insane it blew everyone away, so nobody cared. I'm wondering if we're going to get something similar here, because you look at that triple threat. Right? Like, Takeshita, Ospreay, Ricochet is going to be insane. You look at the main event. Like, there are things that are just going to show out from the wrestling perspective that I wonder if that's kind of where their heads are at of like, yeah, the build isn't great, but the wrestling is something that people are not going to be complaining about. Like, everyone's going to be talking positively about this pay-per-view because they're going to be talking about how ridiculous these matches are. So...
And AEW, the one part of their business that hasn't gone down in 2024 is their pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Like pretty much every pay-per-view except for like All Out because that number hasn't been confirmed yet. But I did the research. Every pay-per-view this year has done over 100,000 buys. That's why before the TV deal was done, I was like, for all of y'all people that are hoping they put pay-per-views on Max for free, that would be the dumbest business decision of all time. Because they're making more money than ever on pay-per-views in 2024. That would be a misjudged move. That is something that a 50-year company was able to do. It's not something that a 5-year company should do. So I'm glad they did it the way they have with the discounted rate on Max. That's the smart way to go about it, the UFC model, because their pay-per-views is the only part of their business that is on the up this year.
Yeah, I mean, they're now getting this huge infusion on the back end too, but like, they were bleeding money for the first 5 years. So let's not forget that too. This isn't like everybody's all of a sudden rolling in it. Like, this is just to get them profitable. So to your point, I think that is a better call. And I think the Fight Pass model is a good thing. And I remember Shawn saying this on a couple of his shows. Like, the other thing is you can't give that away and then take it back. Once you cross that threshold, you've crossed that threshold. There's no, we did it and oopsie, it didn't work out. Now we're going to start charging you. Like, that's not how that works. So you better be damn sure when you are ready there. But thank you for having more cheers in here, Cyclops, saying, back when men were men, Tony actually used to try to compete against NXT.
I was like Tuesday, I was like, Tony, put your hands up. What are we doing? Don't just let them hit you in the face. They putting all their main roster talent on this show, and you spent 20 minutes without the wrestling? That's the part you're good at.
Yeah, there's going to be more on Fightful Select about this, but there's so much talent that's in the Florida area and so many that are, like the FTR, for example, is in the North Carolina area that's still affected. Plus Britt Baker being sick. Like, there was a lot of that episode that also got tossed around a lot. I actually thought it was an all right episode considering the circumstances, but yeah, it is. They're also going up against a different NXT, right? Like, this is not Vince McMahon era crap that is tucked away anywhere. This is like an upswing time for NXT as well, where they're on a new network. They've got new champions. Like, they're working through some stuff there too. So,
yeah.
So it was a weird one on Tuesday. But the other thing that's so funny is when people look at ratings, I'm like, I bet a bunch of people watched NXT and DVR'd AEW, and then we'll go back and watch that. Like, this is not the Monday Night Wars, man. Like, people want it to be that so bad, and it's just not. It's just not. But guys, keep that support coming. We appreciate it. Over 2,000 of you tuned in right now across platforms. We appreciate it so much. So continue to send in those chats. Continue to leave a thumbs up on this video. You will have Joel and Cresta talking about the build to Bound for Glory tonight. I know that Nick Nemeth is talking on the show. He's got his big world champion appearance. He's got the Hardyz in action as well. So lots to talk about in TNA world. But here in ROH, Brian Cage cuts a promo backstage bragging about being the machine in every aspect, and that he was programmed to be the best professional wrestler, starting by beating Atlantis Jr. for that TV title on the 0 hour of Wrestle Dream. I am so sick of wrestlers saying that they're the best.
I just want a soul for a soul. You know, we got to sacrifice a Chris Jericho 2-month run before Final Battle. Can we at least get Brian Cage to win the Ring of Honor TV title on Saturday? And bring neat. That title back to the company, please?
That would be neat. I would love that. Yeah. I would appreciate a build that made sense. Like, I mean, remember when they were doing the survival matches? They just stopped doing those. Like, just try a little bit. But Shane Monster with the chat. TMD Kate, SB303. What a throwback. I love that. Big Bill as ROH champ would be great with how that first appearance in 2019 at MSG went.
Great callback.
Redemption from an embarrassing moment. I was there. I was at that.
I was there too. I was there. Supercard of Honor. I mean, what was it?
Climax.
Supercard.
Right?
No, it was G1 Supercard.
G1 Supercard, yeah.
I was like trying to figure out. I was like, something Supercard. G1 Supercard. I was there in Madison Square Garden. Yes, that moment had us all baffled. All of us were baffled. Like, why is Enzo and Big Cass here?
It was, I've never heard just apathy. Like, I've never heard an arena of people collectively go, like, but man, yeah, that was something to experience live for sure.
It led to a great Tama Tonga promo. At least it was that.
You know what? I remember Shawn saying, he was like, in retrospect with that championship match, it was good Matt Taven won. Because the other people that were in it.
Yes! Because in retrospect, that was the best route. I was one of the only people cheering because I'm big, true heel me. I was big into Matt Taven. Matt Taven's my boy. Matt Taven told me one time at a Ring of Honor show in early 2019, he said if I bought his shirt, I would find love. And I did. I found my wife just a few months later. And I told Matt Taven that story after he became Ring of Honor World Champion. I was like, your shirt brought me love in my life. Now I have a kid.
There you go. My goodness. Be enormous with the chat saying, when I was 8, the Ultimate Warrior was my favorite wrestler, and Wolverine is still my favorite superhero. Brian Cage should be a champion somewhere. Here's the thing. Brian Cage is not the most for me, but I was talking with Kylie from Fightful Overbooked, and I was like, I think Brian Cage is just for the boys, and I'm okay with that. Because there's nothing I look at him wrestling-wise, and I'm like, he's bad at it. Like, I'm just not that connected to him. And I was like, I think he's just for the dudes. He's got the dude look. He's got a dude promo. Like, I was like, I think he's for the boys, and that's fine. Like, that's important to have in wrestling, as a wrestler that's for the boys. That's the majority of the demographic. I am impressed by the fusion of his size and athleticism every time he's in the ring. Like, some of the stuff that he can do off the ropes, he should not be able to do for a guy of his size. The strength is always impressive. He does look like $1,000,000. Like, on paper, I completely get it with this guy, and I understand why people like him in the ring too. Just not the most for me guy in the world, and that's okay, but objective wrestling opinion, like, of course strap up this guy. You know what I mean?
I agree. I 100% agree with you there. Brian Cage, I think I've always kind of liked him because he is a lot more, like you said, athletic than he should be with the whole look that he has and this physique is amazing. He seems more of a guy that probably would have been like a number one draft pick for WWE back in like the 2010s. Yes. But like
that's probably why I'm grossed out by it. I'm like, oh, don't take me back to that.
But he works in AEW and ROH, and he's here. So that's my number one reason of why I want him to be the TV champion, because Atlantis Jr. is not here. Brian Cage is here. Let's put the title on him.
That is where the bar is at. But hey, you know what? Not only can you talk about these title matches that are going to be on Wrestle Dream with us right here on ROH, but you can bet on wrestling. You can bet on wrestling online. You can bet online AG.
By now, you guys know how much I love Bet Online. Every betting odds that we have ever had on Fightful, whether it be MMA, boxing, pro wrestling, come from Bet Online AG. We've given you guys a ton of great underdog picks, but you know what? They got so much more to offer at Bet Online AG. The earliest lines, the fastest payouts, the industry's best bonuses at Bet Online AG. They've been trusted for over 25 years by millions of people because of their safe and secure environment, their high credit card acceptance, and their payouts in minutes. But it doesn't end there. Baseball, basketball, fighting, soccer, or football, whatever you want to call it, Bet Online has you covered. Not just that, incredible games. Blackjack, roulette, Golden Dragon, Inferno. Bet Online has it all for you. Your one-stop shop, and this is not a fly-by-night operation. They've been around for 25 plus years, giving you the goods. Go make yourself some money. Please bet responsibly and only bet what you can.
Bet Online AG, our betting sponsor. You'll get a rundown probably of those odds on the SmackDown post-show tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But check out Bet Online. They're a great partner to us. We ask that you be a great partner to them. They have some fun prop bets going on over there too. Like, I know last weekend for WWE, they had like, will Dominic escape the cage? Like, the odds that both Drew and Punk would bleed, things like that. So there's some fun prop bets to get involved in with Bet Online AG as well. But I'll tell you what was a surefire win. I would have bet my house, my dog, my family, my own well-being on Billie Starkz defeating Ella Elizabeth here. With the Senton Atomico. Not a ton to talk about here, but nice to see Ella Elizabeth on television. Nice to see Billie Starkz in action. What did you think of this?
Find use of Billie Starkz kind of showing her apathy at this point with her situation as in MIT, and I'm glad she got the win. But yeah, I want to see some more progression in this story with Billie and Athena moving forward.
It does feel like they're just stalling for the inevitable, so we will see what happens here. But some more love from Cyclops over on our Twitch, which you can check out at Fightful Gaming, saying, I'm going to have to pay my hard-earned money just to say F Wolverine. I mean, his handle has been Cyclops is better than Wolverine on other platforms, so I gotta be honest, I saw that one coming. That did not surprise me. That did not surprise me at all.
Makes sense.
We get Shane Taylor promotions. Lee Moriarty and Shane Taylor defeating the Infantry with Trish Adora and leading into a fantastic, fantastic promo later in the show. The O'Connor roll from Lee Moriarty, doing the O'Connor roll the right way, God bless him, on Carlie Bravo. But later in the show, we get the Infantry backstage and saying that something was off in that match. And STP immediately interrupting to kind of talk a little bit of sense into them and said, man, we've seen you talking about how you're the best, getting all of these wins. You have nothing to show for it. When are they going to stop being good soldiers? And then Shane Taylor says to Trish Adora that he hasn't forgotten about their conversation from 2021. And honest to God, that promo with Trish Adora from 2021 made me cry. Like, it is one of the most effective, under a minute maybe, promos that I've ever seen. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please do yourself a favor and look it up. There's a moment where Trish Adora is in a women's tournament that was brilliantly orchestrated by Maria Kanellis. And she loses kind of later in the tournament. And she's just crying, and you just see Shane Taylor's... She's on the floor crying. You see Shane Taylor's arm just come into the shot and pick her up. And he just says, you're a queen. Head up. Crown on. Basically about this. And the emotion from both of them, I'm like getting teared up talking about it now. That promo made me fall so in love on another layer with Shane Taylor, and was like... It was so effective in so short of a time, and it made Trish Adora's tournament loss feel like it mattered so much. And this wasn't long before the promotion shut down, unfortunately, before Tony Khan bought it. But like, oh my God, I get chills thinking about it. And I love that they kind of picked that up where it left off. And I love Shane Taylor kind of asking the Infantry to stand on their shit a little bit. Like, they have won a bunch of stuff. It hasn't been the titles. Where is it getting them to be good soldiers in this? Shane Taylor's such an effective promo. And I liked Carlie Bravo having a serious side here, too. Like, so flashy in the ring, so charismatic. They're so much fun. They can be a little silly, not in a goofy way like an MXM or the Outrunners, but, like, fun and engaging. And this was, like... Carlie Bravo was like, something was off in that match. Like, he could smell something was up. So this was aces for me. I thought the match was a lot of fun. Fun to see Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty in this together as well, SP3.
Yeah, I thought this was one of the best as far as like storyline progression on the show that we've seen in a number of weeks. I like how the match went down where Carlie Bravo kind of got, he was kind of the hothead in this situation.
Yes.
In front of Trish Adora when she was just talking to Shane Taylor on the outside, which cost him getting a hot tag from Shawn Dean, and then it basically cost them in the end when they couldn't get it together on the double team move, and Lee Moriarty was able to capitalize. And then the post match with the backstage interview, Shane Taylor is the best talker in Ring of Honor. Like, I'm sick of saying he is the best talker in Ring of Honor, because every time he talks, it don't matter if they follow up on it. I remember it.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point.
He gets my attention every single time, and I like the fact that he called out the Infantry. Like, you guys have won matches, you've beaten former champions, beaten legends, but what has you got you just being the good soldier? And I like him bringing up his past with Trish Adora, because it was something that caught my ear when commentary brought it up on the outside, when it was like, Shane wasn't going to do anything to Trish Adora. They have history together. And I was like, oh yeah, they did. They had the whole thing where it looked like he was going to recruit her to Shane Taylor promotions at the tail end of Ring of Honor when they were in the women's tournament. And that women's tournament, man, that was one of the best things from that final year of Ring of Honor that they did. And look at all the women that have like gone on to great success since then, like Willow Nightingale, like Roxanne.
Yep.
Yeah, you got like two of the
Max was in the early rounds of that. Yeah.
You got two of the biggest stars in women's wrestling. You got women that are tearing it up on the independent scene. You got Trish Adora, who's here, and hopefully this is something that can get Trish Adora going on Ring of Honor and picking up some singles win, like Kate always asks for every single week here, and we can get some storyline. We can get some storyline progression for the Infantry, and please just follow through. Like, this is one of those instances where I'm watching something, I'm like, this is great. But in the back of my mind, I'm also like, I hope they follow up on this.
Yeah, it's like we don't want to get punished for our optimism on it. Yeah. But I will say, like, there are people in wrestling, and I think I've said it on this show before, where when I see them, I'm like, if I were a wrestling promotion, I would simply choose to make $1 million with them. For a long time, that was like Ricochet in WWE, right? Like, I'm like, I would just, instead of not doing that, I would just choose to make $1 million off of this person. And Trish Adora has always been one of those to me. Like, her and Willow, to me, are two of the most obvious, magnetic. I always use this word with Willow, and Trish has it too. Like, the second they're on screen, you're like, I'm in. I'm in on whatever you're doing. There's just something about those two women. And in different ways, right? But Trish Adora, the second she just steps out behind that curtain, man, you're just like, I am immediately intrigued. I'm not the litmus test for that. My sister's the litmus test for that. And what I mean by that is my sister doesn't give a shit about wrestling at all. But when she's seen Willow Nightingale, and when she's seen Trish Adora, and when she's seen Aussie Open, actually, those three, she was just like, she just started watching wrestling. It was not like, oh, who's that? It was, oh, that woman. I would love it if my sister gave a shit about wrestling. She sure as hell doesn't. She hasn't the entire time I've been a fan, despite my best efforts. But those three acts, oh my God, she actively dislikes it.
I am also that same way with like my family, like my missus. We kind of, our first connection was wrestling, but she stopped watching like current wrestling mainly because I'm so into it, and she doesn't want to like
that's like your thing.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, that's your thing now. I'm into the old school, but like someone that got her attention, like she loves the Gunther versus Dragunov series.
Oh God,
like she's like Gunther is someone that she is thoroughly entertained of and always feels like he's hurting people. And she rallied behind Dragunov when I showed her the empty arena match from 2020. So you need to have people that are not into wrestling and show them a bit of wrestling, and what gets their attention shows you who is like the stars that can get casuals and people that are not really into it and can get them into professional wrestling like that.
She's mostly saying AEW because I don't review AEW on Fightful. So if she's bothering, I'm not reviewing a show for it. But it's also been Orange Cassidy, and she really liked MJF, who of course Shawn Dean has beaten twice. So I will just forever point that out.
I just had to.
Well, toss that one in there. Rafael Garcia asking us, not sure if you covered this because I'm just getting in. Well, thank you for joining us, Rafael.
Yes.
But would you rather the current setup now or a certain tree on ROH every week? I would rather jump off a bridge than see Chris Jericho on ROH every week.
Hey, if you meant the redwood tree, I'm sorry. Big Bill is the most entertaining part of the whole learning tree act.
That apple tree, I'm also in on that.
Oh, I love the bad apple, but I'm sorry. Big Bill is just awesome entertainment. Like him starting the segment on Dynamite, like the lesson of the day, the learning tree taught me the people that need advice are the ones that want him the least. Just his delivery is just awesome.
He's amazing. The thing is, he is amazing in anything, so put him in something that's good. To answer that question more sincerely, if having just Chris Jericho as the New Wave leads to Big Bill or Brian Keith being the champion, which is kind of what I said before, but you got here late, so I'm catching you up to speed. That's where I'm good with it. Like if it's a transitional reign to make a star out of Brian Keith or Big Bill, I'm good with that. And I also I don't need my ROH champion on TV every week, just some of the weeks, perhaps most of the weeks. That would be neat. How do you feel about what a potential New Wave run could look like? What are your thoughts on that?
If he can show up on this show and not on Dynamite, I mean, I'm willing to kind of acquiesce to him showing up here and less on Dynamite. But it's also
dangerous because I don't want ROH to be a dumping ground for shit that's not working on Dynamite either. You know what I mean? But I also understand what you're saying because they need a breather from Jericho on AEW. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, they need the breather and a star. He's still a star that has some name value. to the point that, yeah, it's not working on AEW television, but putting it on ROH, you can honestly see what's left of the name value of Chris Jericho. Because if he gets more people to get a subscription to Ring of Honor or an Honor Club, or can potentially get them a TV deal out there, then you can be like, Tony Khan can, every time we complain, he could be like, see, look what he did. Look.
Shawn got asked on the Q&A show yesterday if there was data to support Jericho being on TV so much, meaning ratings data. And Shawn said, I'm glad you asked that question, because the data that's supporting it is that they're paying Chris Jericho a lot of money right now.
Yes,
the omission of what Shawn said speaks volumes, I think.
I literally was one of the people 6 months ago when he first started doing, like we said last week, the wink and the nod version of the learning tree. That's when he did get bumps when he was on sure. Dynamite, because I was following it. But that ended like 5 months ago. Like I said, 6 months ago when it started and he was doing the wink and the nod, he was getting a bump. And then a month later, he stopped getting that bump. And now we've been here for 5 more months.
I went off on Tuesday about how, one, if he's the master of reinvention, why is he creating another stable that the whole idea is everybody else is kissing my ass? And two, the Jericho Vortex is so real that, did I say this last week or did I say this on Tuesday, that Hook was defending the same title at All In this year that he was last year? It's brutal. It's brutal. But I'll tell you what's not brutal. I like seeing the Dark Order on my screen, and they cut a promo saying it was time for them to get back in the trios division. I have been asking for division clarity for my whole life. But they get confronted by the Iron Savages, Boulder Bronson and Jet Jameson, challenging them to a trios match, and Reynolds accepts the challenge. So I like that they're creating clarity in the divisions that I've been asking them to for a while. That also includes on Dynamite. I've been asking for that with Top Flight, right? It now seems like we're getting some more information on what shows these guys compete on and when and in which divisions. Them just blatantly saying we're going to be a trio, that's all I freaking want. That's all I've been asking for, man. It's that fundamental. So this was music to my ears, not because it was particularly overpowering story-wise, but I just want people's intentions to be clear before they go and compete. So this was fine by me.
Yeah, this was fine by me. My only issue is that I thought the Iron Savages was feuding with the Outrunners. All I'm asking is that, can we just get a 15, 30-second vignette for stuff? On this show, could we just not get a 15-second vignette of Iron Savages, of even the Outrunners being hey guys, we did great work on Ring of Honor, but we're going over to AEW now and we're going to tear it up over there like we've been doing in Ring of Honor. So forget about all our storylines here. We're moving on. And even on AEW television, you're telling me, even though Shawn did a great report saying that the option to continue the story wasn't available, was the thing he was told, you're telling me we couldn't get a 30-second vignette with Stokely saying, hey, Chris, I got you to beat Willow. Now it's time for you to move on your own. That's all I wanted. That would have been nice.
She kind of hinted at that on Rampage, but yeah, something with a little bit more oomph behind it would have been good. I'm in full agreement that we got to stop dropping these things out of nowhere like that. But again, this is the right direction. It's just a matter of, can they stay consistent on that direction? Because neither tag division in AEW or ROH and neither trios division feels strong right now. So I just want all the talent to get utilized to the best of their ability. That's all I want in this life. We get Diamante with a surprise win against Red Velvet via a DQ here. Diamante attacking Velvet with the title out of rage, causing the referee to call for the DQ. I actually really like this because I like that they tap in deeper to the thing that Diamante has that makes her unrepeatable about things. I love that. I love when they're we see the secret sauce with this person, let's go deeper with it. And I feel like that's what they did with Diamante, and this also makes her look smart in a little bit, right? I kind of like that she was not going to win, so she pulled out a stop here to kind of pull things off. So I like what we actually got out of this. What did you think?
I like anything that's a semblance of a rivalry, because you could have just had Red Velvet, win this matchup to get her first title reign, and already Red Velvet, you're off to a really great start above the first Ring of Honor TV champion, because you defended your title
literally
after
at all. Yeah.
2-3 months. I mean, you're batting 1,000 because you survived this, and you're still the Ring of Honor Women's TV champion. I like this feud. I like the dynamic that they have. Continue it. Let's see how much you can kind of spread their wings for both performers. And I like Diamante's character right now, with kind of just always using weapons, it seems.
Yeah, she's always reaching for something more violent. This is kind of what I thought the Mercedes Martinez relationship would look like.
Yeah.
That didn't really fully materialize, but cut from the same cloth are those two women. So, guys, we're coming down the home stretch with the Ring of Honor. We're going to pass it off to the TNA crew shortly as they continue the build for Bound for Glory over there. So, we'll quickly move on to Lance Archer defeating Sam Beale via the Blackout. Lance Archer, another one who seems to have been moving on into the AEW picture again, which I love that for him. Like, I don't know how I feel about the pairing with Callis, but I like that it seems like they have a plan for him other than, hey, why don't you lose and be title adjacent? Like, that has always been the plan for Lance Archer. Him with some creative push behind him, I kind of dig it, but this was a keep Lance Archer strong kind of squash situation.
Yeah, at least you're having him pick up some wins right before he loses to another star, which seems to be the Lance Archer theme. I'm hoping that changes with Don Callis, which I want to say I've been enjoying Don Callis and the Don Callis family story since since All Out. They've been doing a good job with the Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher being conflicted between Ospreay and Callis, and bringing Archer into the story might be a good thing for him.
My only thing on Wednesday was, okay, you get this new big trade, your new powerhouse guy, and then he doesn't come out in the Ospreay segment was so weird to me. I was just
it was weird.
They could have taken the spot that Takeshita was in that whole pull apart. I was like, what?
That and the fact that Kyle Fletcher, you're not a very good friend. Why are you conflicted? Don Callis literally admitted that he betrayed Ospreay. You think he's not going to do the same thing to you?
He's young. He's young, and he has bad hair decisions that he already has to reckon with. There's a lot to process, including
dresses like
the blonde on his head. I said he was like a slutty home improvement brother, and I stand by that. Is he not? Is he not a slutty Brad Taylor at the end of the day with his crop top? Oh man, we do get our ROH rewind that SP3 alluded to earlier. The Bryan Danielson versus Kenta match. Danielson winning 20 years ago with the cattle mutilation. But this was cool. I liked it better this week than I liked it last week. So some good stuff there. And then we move on to our main event, which has Mark Briscoe and Josh Woods. No ground proven, but nice to see Josh Woods profiled in somewhere that feels really important. You gotta also have Mark Briscoe look strong going into the pay-per-view, of course. So him winning with the Froggy Bow here is great, but Josh Woods feeling like an important part of the program is something that I've been rooting for since before Tony Khan bought it, to be frank. Like, he had the ROH Pure title, and he was great. And I was like, this guy, the technical beast, there's something to tap into with him, and I hope they continue to do so.
Yeah, and I like the story of the matchup, him working over the arm of Mark Briscoe, Mark not being able to get the J Driller early on, and then he had to use the arm for the Froggy Bow at the end, but he was still able to pick up the victory here. I just, after this matchup, which was good, I need the conglomeration to get far away from the premier athletes, because I felt like I've seen this match or any combination of these two stables for at least a year. It feels like a very long time.
Agreed. Let's move on from that, we're going to move on in this post-show and bring on the TNA crew. Speaking of Mark Briscoe, Shawn interviewed him earlier today, so keep an eye out for that going into Wrestle Dream to talk about his big title match. I can't imagine that wasn't a super, super fun pay-per-view, but we're going to bring in Joel and Cresta, the returning Cresta, coming back. Keep your Jay Whites, keep your Adam Coles. I want the return of the beautiful, amazing, wonderful Cresta coming on here, returning to TNA greatness. How are you?
Wrestling gives me everything that I need in life except making my camera do what I want it to do, so I don't expose the business. I missed you guys. How is everyone? Wrestling is awesome.
We missed you too. Wrestling is awesome. We're happy to have you back. Decent episode of ROH after 2 really down weeks. So the lesson is when you complain constantly, sometimes people hear that. So complain all the time.
I love that. Complaining is my favorite pastime. Complaining moves the needle.
It really does. Just sometimes you got to throw on your best Karen impression and you got to complain. Okay. Works for Chelsea Green. Look at her. She looks great. She's killing it.
Honestly.
I mean, she did end up in a dumpster this week, so maybe not. But how was TNA? How's the Bound for Glory build looking?
Joel,
we got 2 more episodes.
Okay.
The
Hardyz happened. I know.
The build just started.
I had a good time. I don't know about Joel.
Another hurricane casualty. In a metaphorical sense, not a literal one, right? Those tapings getting a bit uprooted.
Yeah.
And next week is a monkey's paw moment for me.
Joel, you sound like since I've been gone, you've been having the best time.
Everything gets like 97% less fun when you're not around, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
I had a couple of good solo shows. I missed you dearly.
Yeah,
well, we're ready for the chaos tonight because Care Bear Cresta is here and I haven't watched anything.
Son of a bitch, I knew it.
Well, we will turn it over to you guys. Guys, stick around for the show. You guys were killing it with the chats tonight. We really appreciate the support. So keep that going on the TNA train for these 2 lovely, beautiful humans. I'll let you distribute how much you feel about those adjectives to which hosts, but we're gonna get out of here. Have a wonderful rest of your show, guys.
Enjoy.
Bye.
Love your shirt, Joel.
Oh, thank you. I wore it for you. Oh, SP3 always knows how to tickle me. Kate's okay.
Oh,
just the best.
Just a touch.
Thought for a sec she was gonna pop back on and say some stuff.
I'll let you have it.
Welcome back, partner. How you doing?
You know, I will say something sentimental before we get into the shenanigans.
Ah,
I was really sad for the past 2 weeks, and I've been popping in and out of the shows. But wrestling, honestly, when I was feeling really sad, I would pop in and watch like the post shows here, or I'd watch wrestling. And wrestling is so stupid sometimes. I love wrestling, and I'm happy to be here. I am ready to talk shenanigans. Joe Hendry in the main event scene. Masha speaking English. What happened?
Oh yeah, you missed a couple of things, I guess.
I walk away for 2 seconds, okay? 2 long seconds.
I already have my victory lap on the Masha speaking English stuff. So
I mean, in kayfabe, I feel lied to.
You shouldn't. Just watch literally any other show she's ever appeared on, not called TNA Impact.
I feel sports betrayed.
Yeah, kayfabe was very real for that one moment for you. Anyway, are we back? Are we back?
I'm ready. Oh, Cresta, you're 10.
Oh, that's a good one because today is October 10th and it's 10/10. Huh?
Exactly.
That's great because if I stretch this thing out, it'll be an 11 out of 10, and that's me, baby.
Hey, bang, 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 bang.
There is no effing way that I'm going to get this to midnight.
I mean, with that attitude, we could talk about the industrial revolution of the wrestling complex.
Nope. No. Who's got 2 thumbs and has been up since 5 a.m? This guy, and a 1 and a 2. Hello, friends. We're back again. It's Fightful.com, and it's time for your TNA Impact post show. It's October 10th, 2024. Happy 10/10 to the only 10 oh, God, I can do this, can't I? TNA Impact was filmed in Nashville, Tennessee, and with me tonight is the only 10 I see. Welcome back to the chair, Cresta Star.
It is I here to give you the Cardi B laugh of grappling. I missed you guys. I'm so excited. And the 10 I see is the Tennessee, where TNA in my heart it be.
Oh, nice. We're doing that early and effectively and stuff. Listen, if you're already here, leave a thumbs up. If you haven't already, what's wrong with you? If you are listening in the audio realm, where's your 5 stars? Have you dropped them yet? Have you put them down? Do you want to put them down on us? Go ahead. It's free, I promise. Gets your ears plugged with more 5 stars for your friends to find more for us to give to you, because we have content every day on this channel, whether it's a post show or an interview or some sort of chatter. We're here on Fightful every day doing something. And if we're not on Fightful, then we're on Fightful Select. Best $5 in the business. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And also, of course, you can donate a super chat here. Any amount, get your question or statement read on the air. People have already started. Just Ricardo got us one saying, "Hi, Miss Cresta. Miss you. What's up, Joel? How goes it? Buddy, I'm good. I hope you're well. Cresta, you're back. How are you feeling, first and foremost?"
I am feeling a lot better. I needed this time to recharge. Grief is weird. Hug your fur babies. But I did miss you guys. I'm ready to be my crazy self and talk about men whose real name I don't know, pretend fighting for my enjoyment, and sometimes there's blood.
Some of those names are the same in and out of the ring.
Sometimes you're phenomenal.
That's actually not his real name.
I disagree. In my heart, it's still real and me. Damn it, that's his name.
If he gets into the TNA Hall of Fame this year, I will say that's his real name. Meet Normus also sent us a super chat saying, "Cresta, welcome back. You look amazing. Joel, nice glasses."
That's crazy.
I know, right? Love you, Meet Normus. Can't believe that's what we got. Have a great show. Meat forever. Sometimes veggies. Sometimes veggies indeed. Listen, I love meat. I love me good meat, whether it's a steak or chicken, but veggies, man. I do love me some veggies.
The only veggie I like is Bryan Danielson. Next question.
I mean, if he keeps wrestling the way that he does, sorry, that's too bad.
That's dark. He's a vegan. You about to call it beef jerky. You got to get beat up so bad.
He's a vegetarian. I found out that Serge Tankian is no longer a vegetarian either. He eats meat now.
I tried to be a vegetarian once, and then my mom took me to Outback Steakhouse. I broke. That wasn't fair.
Of all the places, that's what did it?
I mean, listen. Nope. TNA, what happened? There was going to be a joke there, but nope.
No, please. Enlighten the people.
I've put worse types of meat in my mouth. Next question. At least it was seasoned.
I'm just gonna sit here for a second.
You asked for it, okay?
No, this is for your own good. We're just gonna sit and stew in that reality for a minute.
Meat. Gout.
Cresta is absolutely back. How long will this last? Who knows? How long will we continue doing this? Who knows?
Till Shawn kicks me off the air.
And he won't kick us off the air if you donate a humperchat at humperchats.com. Cresta, give him the rundown.
You can go to humperchats.com. Yes, that's humperchats.com. Put any dollar amount in the little box. And in the comment section, you can type, "Hey, SRS, don't shut down TNA. Cresta's unhinged," and we love it. We get to keep a little bit more of the proceeds. I'm happy. Joel's happy. SRS is happy. Decepticons are happy. Humperchats.com. Do you want to be happy? That's not a threat. I love you.
You hear that, internet? Not only will Cresta beat you up, but we are the only ones who control whether or not this show finishes.
That's true. But also beat you up for a fee of $5 to Fightful Select.
We'll do Select later. There's enough going on this weekend. Okay, let's open up with Impact. Masha, Slamovich, Jordynne Grace, and Ruca defeat the team of Wendy, Choo, Rosemary, and Tasha Steelz. Listen, this is fine. This match happened. It had to happen. Jordynne Grace hits the Juggernaut driver on Tasha Steelz for the win. And the first thing is, what are we going to do about Tasha Steelz, man? Before we get to the other side of this whole coin, Tasha Steelz, I don't know what you've been following. I don't know how much you know about Tasha's involvement in all of this.
So I have 2% knowledge, and tell me where I'm wrong, because I think I have the gist of it, right? Alicia Edwards wasn't clear to wrestle. Tasha Steelz stepped in. Masha Lisha with Tasha Steelz lost the titles to Spitfire, and then Alicia Edwards and Tasha Steelz played Masha Slamovich, saying that you hit us with the rope-a-dope and it's your fault. And then Masha Slamovich speaks English. What did I miss?
Okay, so Tasha replaced Lish, and then they lost the tag titles, and here we are.
So I was right.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. You're good. Once again, I feel bad for Tasha Steelz. I don't know what it is. I want more for her, but I also, I don't know what is or isn't going on with like her creative and what she's up to and what her plans are. I don't know where that stands, but I'm just sitting here and I'm like, okay, she had the tag titles for a night and then she dropped them and now this has happened. It was almost like we'll get her in, get her out, and that's it.
I was going to mute, but then you stopped talking, so I apologize for the cough in everyone's ear.
And I thought you had something to say before you coughed.
I do. I'm thinking that sometimes the Knockouts division and the Knockouts tag division can seem empty. And then when a lot of women come back, or you have like Rosemary, Wendy, Choo, and Ruca, and Tasha Steelz, it really makes me long for a TNA mid-card division for the women. It really makes me long for that, because someone like you said, Tasha Steelz, what are we doing with her? And I feel like we've been saying that now for maybe close to 6 months, because she'll pop up here, pop up there, and then we don't see her. I think she's an amazing champion. She's an amazing talker, an amazing wrestler. It's a little hard to believe that we can't use Tasha Steelz in a championship way or in an Asa Bay sort of way, because she has that same swagger. Give her someone that's like realistic and give her a real run with the titles. Her and Zaya Brookside is just something that comes to mind, because to me, Tasha Steelz is an X Division player. She's so fast, she's so good, and she's precise. So I would love to see what we're doing with her, but if we have to do like a tag team, her and Zaya would be amazing. And I don't know. That's just me talking out loud.
That's fair. Listen, like I said, it's been a lot of stop and go with Tasha. I'm just curious about what we do, because she ate the pin, and it seems like that's the end of that story, because Masha moves on now. Her and Jordynne Grace have an argument at the end of the match as to who was in control and like who should have finished the match, blah, blah, blah. And Ruca kind of puts a stop to it. The NXT influence here was really just having two bodies on either side representing their teams on the babyface and heel dynamic. It was fine. Ruca, again, a lot of these women who are coming in because WWE has some sort of vested interest in them, and they want them to get those extra reps on TV where they're maybe not currently getting it on NXT TV or on Level Up, which is their like opener developmental program that they run. This is totally harmless. If you don't see that WWE has a very big interest in Ruca, I don't know what to tell you. She is very popular and she's very good, and she's taken to this very quickly.
She's so good and athletic, and I was watching her wrestle, and I was a fan of her before in NXT, but watching her wrestle in TNA, I'm like, oh, she'd fit in right here. She'd fit in perfectly right here. Her style is so like, again, X Division driven, in the sense of like, she's athletic, she's tall, so it'd be like, what the hell are you doing in the X Division? But the moment she wrestles, you're like, I see why you're in the X Division. She's really, really good. The athleticism on Ruca is crazy. And her finisher, the Soul Snatcher, that snap one she caught out of nowhere. Oh, this girl, she's going to be something. If not in the next 2 years, I say at most 3, at the very most. Ruca is definitely going to be something. That girl is athletic beyond.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity with her. And one thing about tonight's TNA Impact show was the knockouts really did kind of run through the entirety of the show. And we'll pick up these threads kind of as the show goes through, because this wasn't the only interaction between Masha and Jordynne Grace or some sort of storytelling with it. And again, this was one of the issues that TNA ran into when they couldn't run Spartanburg because of Hurricane Helene. They had to pivot quickly, and they went to Skyway Studios in Nashville. They taped really 3 weeks of content. I argue they could have done 4, but it's not up to me. It's not my problem. Anyway, point is, they listen, there was a natural disaster, and that does suck. And I'm happy
Yeah.
that those who are, I'm happy that people are safe. I'm happy that people are okay, and that they were able to do what they were able to do for 3 weeks of taping. It was just very funny to me because someone asked me, they were like, do you think TNA could turn out an episode on 24 hours? And I'm like, yeah, especially at Skyway, because they're in a friggin' studio. They're in a proper, like, controlled TV studio environment where they can record and put it out and it'll be good. And then they ran a Best of Bound for Glory last week. It is what it is. It's a double-edged sword. I get it.
Yeah, I don't think no matter what you would have done in that situation, if you're TNA, people are like, well, why are you running a show? Well, why didn't you run a show? Man.
Again, I'm happy they were able to get him. Happy everyone was safe and they made the travel and made it in. The wrestlers are happy with what they were able to do on the time that they had. To me, it was funny to me that they did the tapings on a Wednesday and Thursday, and they didn't do a quick turnaround. It just happened that way.
This is a production thing. I'm like, I understand, or maybe I don't. I'm just smiling and nodding. It happens. Sometimes I'm dumb.
I don't think it's dumb. It's a production thing.
Yeah, it's a production thing.
Wilson sends a super chat saying Sol Ruca felt like she was next in line till Stephanie Vaquera, Julia, and Delta showed up. Now she might be North American title bound. This isn't an NXT post show, but because they do get involved with TNA right now, I don't mind that. I think Sol Ruca has been in the North American Championship, division, and she shines there too. I think a lot of these women, I think you're going to find out that Stephanie Vaquera, Julia, and to a lesser extent Delta, I think the first two, there's a lot of planning for them. Delta's being packaged as a big deal. I don't think people really understand. Delta's only been wrestling for like 3 years. She has not been around very long. So there will be some growing pains and some development that goes into that. But Sol Ruca is still very much earmarked as a major contender in the NXT world.
I'll even take it one step further that a lot of people were complaining, why should Stephanie Vaquera and Julia even go to NXT? So someone like Sol Ruca, I see Sol Ruca in the same spot that Rhea Ripley was in for a while when a lot of people moved up from NXT and there was a void at the top or upper echelon. Someone like her will be fine for when Roxanne Perez moves up. And Kalani Jordynne will be fine for when a Julia moves up. So I think Sol Ruca right now isn't, I don't want to say she's not ready because I'm not a wrestler. I'm just a person who talks crap and sits on their hands. You know what I mean? But like, if I'm looking at wrestling from a trajectory standpoint, there's absolutely room for you to come out and learn that NXT TNA system, then go on to be the North American champion, heading into the TNA, the NXT Women's Champion. There's definitely space for them, and it's a very exciting time, I think, for women's wrestling in particular with this NXT TNA, because the Knockouts division is lauded as the best women's wrestling NA, period. Argue with your mama about it. So this is great. This is great lore for her. I think Sol Ruca will be fantastic. She's going to be fine. She'll be fine. Don't worry. North American is going to have a problem when she gets a hold of it.
Also, again, not every wrestler needs to hold a title to prove that they are worthy of
Joe Hendry.
Joe Hendry's a pretty good example of that for sure. There have been wrestlers in NXT especially who never won a championship and still went up to main roster and did okay. Moving on, Gia Miller's backstage with Josh Alexander and Sinner and Saint. The group's now called the Northern Armory, which, okay.
You're going to hear from Ethan Page's lawyer. That's all I could think of. You'll be hearing from my lawyer.
I don't know. I think it's more likely to see Ethan Page shake Josh Alexander's hand for this. They said if Macklin and Eric Young had minded their own business, this wouldn't be happening. And then Alexander calls Macklin and EY the past, Sinner and Saint are the future. It's a good promo. Listen, when they started the Josh Alexander, Sinner and Saint tease that led to the official turnaround partnership, whatever, last week, I was all in on this. I like it. Sinner and Saint had some pitches before as they were signed. And this is one of the ones that makes the most sense. They're working with the guy in TNA, one of the top guys, and it's Canadian, and it's someone that they know and have worked with. It's really good. I'm a fan of it. I'm curious as to your feelings.
Oh, I don't hate it. Josh Alexander, I'm sorry. Josh Alexander could do no wrong for me. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry. He could slap Tom Hannafin. I'm like, wow, why would you do that, Tom Hannafin? What'd you do to get slapped? Like, I like it. I almost called them Pure Fusion Collective. They could be named Pure Fusion Collective, and I would like it. Josh Alexander and Sinner and Saint could do no wrong. What I am waiting for is Sinner and Saint to beat up Good.
Come on, man. Let me have my boys. They've already massacred them tonight.
Look what they've done to my boy. But no, like honestly, from the first time I saw Sinner and Saint till now, these boys look like they've been through hell hanging out with Josh Alexander. It's just curious to me, and maybe I've missed something, that Josh Alexander would say that Eric Young is the past. But isn't this violent by design? Aren't you copying this? Let me not talk too much.
I think it's more the idea that Eric Young's been around since the inception of TNA.
But so were you, Josh Alexander. I remember those promos. No. When I say that, he was one of those guys like, I used to come to TNA all the time. I wanted to wrestle here. So you were a fan of Eric Young.
He was a fan of the original TNA. He was a fan of the original Team Canada. He's a heel now. He hates everything.
He's a heel now. No, that's fair.
He's a heel now. It's different. Really different.
That's honestly the best explanation. He's a heel now. It's just different. You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry.
That's the Matt Raywalt way of explaining it.
And he learned that from Don Callis' School of Facts. I don't gotta explain shit. He's a heel now.
But in actuality, EY has been around for the entirety of TNA. Mm-hmm. Josh was a fan, so the way that he can further explain it is, you've been around since the beginning. That doesn't mean I always liked you since the beginning. Mm-hmm. I always liked TNA, and I came to TNA because I wanted to show that it can be better than Eric Young. It can be better than Steve Macklin. It can be better than the sum of what you had it as into the 2000s. That is easily what the Josh Alexander character can be saying. And he kind of is to a certain degree. And you also have to understand that, Josh Alexander has not been in TNA as long as Eric Young has.
I mean, you could even say it from the inverse. It's like, well, yeah, Eric Young could be like, bro, I already did this. I know how this is going to shake out. You're going to get murdered. I already know how this is going to shake out for you. You know what? You're going to get murdered by the bald one. Don't do it.
Just here to shank people.
Honestly, I know it. I feel like this was a quote from somebody, and I can't think of what wrestler said this. Talk about, remember old days back when wrestlers didn't play video games or something like that? Like, yeah, go wrestle for TNA. What are you talking about?
You know who that wrestler was?
I feel like you're going to say something out. I feel like it was The Undertaker. I feel like
you got it. That's right.
I was say something outlandish like The Undertaker.
We used to have guns back in the locker room. And when we had a problem, we play quarters with our guns. And
that's not funny because he was dead ass about it. But that's kind of like, if he was saying that and just like, yo, this guy's crazy. Like he was.
I think he's just looking for a hot take. Nick Nemeth cuts a promo. You want to talk about hot takes? He's not doing it for me right now. He's just, I don't love the babyface champion who loves being here. Especially this version of Nick Nemeth doesn't do it for me. It's cheesy. The first word of my notes is cheesy. Period.
He put cheddar, mozzarella.
It's not good. It's not even Tex-Mex. It's not even queso.
Velveeta.
It's Velveeta. It's cheesy. Joe Hendry comes out. He puts over Nick Nemeth and says there's no memes or music videos this time. He's put in the work, and this is good. I like that Joe Hendry is doing this seriously, that he knows the importance of the World Championship match at the biggest TNA show of the year. I like that the emphasis is there. Nemeth brings up, Shawn Michaels believes in Joe Hendry. And this is what I love. Joe Hendry turns the tables and says, what about John Layfield? What about JBL? He's been around. What's he going to do when he sees you at Bound for Glory? And Nemeth kind of talks his way around it. Because again, I think Nick Nemeth is turning heel at Bound for Glory.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. Oh, absolutely.
And he says he'll steal the show. Yay. And then First Class comes out, call themselves the main event. This is really fun. Again, I like AJ Francis. I love Casey Navarro. I love that they've found something in that tag team. I think it's much better than anything they've had before. AJ says he made Joe Hendry, which AJ Francis said that to me at Slammiversary. And he was like, I hope Joe Hendry wins the title so that I can turn around and I can get a title shot because I made Joe Hendry. That's the kind of shit that I wanted. So him being attached to Joe Hendry throughout this entirety is good. And then they make the main event. Santino does Nemeth and Hendry versus First Class. Fist Clash, whatever he called it.
I put
Fish Cast.
What was it? Where did I type it or wrote it? It doesn't matter. Fist Clash. Sometimes Santino gives me a headache, and I know I'm dyslexic, but
tonight would be the best night for you to have a migraine from him.
Okay, so breaking down this promo, I want to hit the first thing that you said about the JBL, because it is when this man said, "I'm not answering that question," and then moved on. I was like, "Oh, you turning on him because it's babyface versus babyface." I'm kind of into it. Fight with honor. I was going to ask what happened with JBL, but they answered my own question. Nemeth, you're turning heel. Not mad at it. Also not mad at Joe Hendry not winning. Makes sense. You drag it out. You get JBL. You drag it out for maybe one more thing. And then you have Joe Hendry win it. Or maybe two more things, because that seems to be the formula going forward. Not mad at it. First Class coming out. Listen, whether you hate AJ Francis or you love AJ Francis, you cannot deny that him and Casey Navarro are doing the damn thing. They are being instigators. They're being annoying. And that's exactly what you need to cut this type of tension with a knife. I'm not going to answer your question about JBL because here comes AJ Francis to do the most with the least. He's perfect. And Casey Navarro being like, yeah, and you ain't win. And you lost. It's 10 out of 10. I think they're exactly what they need to be. I can't wait for Nick Nemeth to turn on Joe Hendry. And I don't know how that's going to work. Because I think y'all should have been put the belt on Joe Hendry. Understand why you didn't, but I don't know how that's gonna work. How you gonna squeeze every penny out of this? But I'm sports intrigued.
So this is the fun thing about the JBL story, I guess, or appearances. Everywhere JBL has shown up, he has been the heel, except for TNA. He helped Nemeth retain against the system, against Moose when he beat up the system. Every time he's shown up, it's always been as Nemeth's friend. But in MLW, he's a heel. In GCW, he's a heel. Everywhere JBL has shown up, he's a heel. When he shows up at Destiny Wrestling in Toronto, he's going to be a heel. People are going to boo him. It's going to happen again because JBL he's not going to go through this whole thing and be like, oh yeah, no, TNA is the only place where you'll see me and cheer me. Like AAA, you can say that he did it there because he was a babyface there because he seconded Nemeth to the ring, but like it's AAA. Like, well, let's just leave it at that. Jables comes in, he's going to be the reason that Nick Nemeth turns. That's easy to say. And Hendry probably, I don't think he's going to win the title, but we'll see what happens next week. It feels like Joe Hendry's not winning the TNA title.
And that's okay. Because in the confines of this story, that's fine. You have a major plot twist for Nick Nemeth with it. JBL with it. If Nick Nemeth wants to stay in TNA after that, fine. You have a program already built in for Joe Hendry when he does go over on Nick Nemeth. Because I don't think it'll happen at Bound for Glory, but I think might happen at the next one or the one after that. Again, I think that they should have been put the title on Hendry, but with what we have, it would make sense for him to lose at Bound for Glory, cheating, nefariousness, and then the next pay-per-view, Slammiversary already happened, so that won't be until next year. I wouldn't drag it to Slammiversary.
No, it would be hard to kill in January.
Oh yeah, it's about to be November.
Well, don't forget there is Final Resolution at the end of November. That's in Winston-Salem. That's actually with WrestleCade. So that's actually a fun possible title change opportunity in front of like hardcore wrestling fans, assuming that they have those fans really show up in droves. And then the other one is Final Resolution, and that's in Atlanta at middle of December. I don't think that's the time to do it. Final Resolution last year, I went there and it was It was right before the rebrand. It was more about what's going to happen when TNA comes back. But this time around, if they're going to do it, I'd be curious. We'll put it like this. If we get to the end of Bound for Glory and they either haven't put the title on Joe Hendry or they haven't announced where Hard to Kill is going to be, then we'll have a better answer.
Okay.
Because if like I was saying, if Hard to Kill's in the UK, I don't know, and I haven't been told, and I haven't honestly haven't been asking, but if it turns out that Hard to Kill is going to be somewhere that's big, not that Detroit isn't, because Bound for Glory is a big show and it's going to sell out, they're going to have a big crowd. If they have something bigger planned and they think that they're going to sell out based on that, then you can crown Hendry there. But also, you can't keep honey dicking fans on Joe Hendry. You can't. Is it the terminology? Is that what did it? Good.
I was coughing and burping, and when you said, I was like, oh Lord Jesus. I'm not mad at it. No, but I agree with that. You have to do something with Hendry. Because at some point, people are going to be like, you know what? Maybe you should go to the Federation. That's what I never say, but maybe you should. Maybe you should. And I think that at least TNA should do right by him and make him champ. No, he was world champion, and he lost to somebody. Am I bugging? About? Joe Hendry. Has Joe Hendry ever
never been world champion? Not
he was the digital media.
Yeah, that's all he's done is the digital media change. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if they bring this all the way to Hard to Kill, and JBL is there, and Joe Hendry is there, and Nick Nemeth is there? You know who corners Joe Hendry? Could you imagine if they get Shawn Michaels, not even to corner Hendry, but because they mentioned him tonight, have him come out and basically super kick JBL and just deneutralize this whole thing?
I have to tell you that I don't care if you're memeing or you meant that seriously. I love that fucking idea. At first, I was like, insane. And then I was like, hold on.
He said he believes. He has said it a million times. They brought it up tonight. If this were WWE, where they typically let you, they don't bring it up if they didn't have a reason. That's Wrestling 101. I don't know if TNA is going to follow the same idea, but maybe even as early, I don't know. I'm putting it out there. You mentioned the guy's name. Maybe that's just, the former Dolph Ziggler trying to be inside because that's what Dolph does. But what if you can have Michaels come and just deliver one old super kick? I see the kitty cats are all about it.
Yeah, Johnny has a lot to say about this idea. She's like, this is fantastic. Joe Hendry, this is great. Honestly, I wouldn't hate it because I think of how NXT has been funneling their talent. TNA started off hot. You had champion, hottest person. And NXT has been okay. It would make sense if you're going up the ladder once you're sending over talent. Not to say I like Tatum Paxley. So let me clear the air here. I like Tatum Paxley. I like not Nathan Frazier. Who the hell is Nathan Frazier? No, he is part of No Quarter Catch Crew.
No, he's not. Nathan Frazier is one of the tag team champions with Axiom.
I don't watch NXT. I don't watch NXT. The point I'm trying to make is nobody there is you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, like, if you're bringing over like your stars, they're not bringing over no Trick Williams at first. They're gonna bring over Tatum Paxley. You know what I'm saying? And they're gonna build up. So we got Ruca now. Ain't nothing stopping. Well, Roxanne Perez is busy at the moment, but you get what I'm saying? We building up, and Shawn Michaels is the pinnacle. Mr. HBK himself, Mr.
Stop that.
I'm sorry. I was going to clip that.
It's weird. I was going to clip that.
Joel said, enough. Cease. The gimmick is dead.
I learned one thing when our good friend Emily May Heller came to Toronto for Money in the Bank. Mm-hmm. Jeremy and a bunch of us went and did one of our shows live in a library that had a green screen behind us. And she sat down, and the first thing she said was, do you have something on the green screen? And we're like, no. She's like, put something on the green screen or else somebody else will. They will edit something in. And I was like, I never really thought about that because we're just a bunch of white bearded guys on the internet. She's like, yeah, well, I'm not. And I know what men can do. And I'm like, that's a valid point. So here I am telling you, don't do that. White bearded men are weird. Okay.
Man, I hate it here.
Come from a white bearded man myself. The only thing about the TNA and WWE / NXT talent exchange is that, yeah, it's been very much NXT sends the people that they want to have focus on or give them reps. They send those people, and then TNA has an opportunity to have their top talent looked at in a WWE ring. So,
one hand washes the other.
if one hand was tiny and the other hand was like 5 times
Come
bigger.
here, let me wash you, tiny hand.
I'm-
Dad.
I'm tired of people making fun of my giant hand. First such instance happened in 19. If you get that joke, thank you. We're way off the wreck. So let's just come back. Reckless
You want this
Elegance.
to be to 2 hours.
No, I don't want that. I want to go to bed eventually. 5 a.m. I'm done. Reckless Elegance. I love that they're finally leaning into the comedy of Ash by Elegance. Got her out of the main event. Now it's fun. Now it's good. I'm all about it. Why did you smell Heather Reckless's socks, Ash by Elegance?
She knew what she was doing.
She knew. She knows there's a GIF out there somewhere, and I'm sure people are reacting to it. They're going off to see Dr. Finkelstein, which I love because that's continuity, and that's my jam. This is cute. What do you think of Reckless Elegance coming to it?
My literal first note is not the feet for free.
Right?
Not the feet. I mean, I actually like this promo, and I've been giving Ash by Elegance a hard time. So I'm glad to see that we're finally doing something funny. I was here for it. It looks like Ash by Elegance is sticking around. So if we're going to do something, let's do something. I'm ready to give Peace a chance. Come on, be funny. Makes with the jokes, clown.
Speaking of clowns, Josh Alexander defeats Eric.
2 Canadian clowns in a ring. 2 bald Canadian clowns.
All right, the clowns didn't. Well, maybe they're sad clowns, but Sinner and Saint come out to distract referee Daniel Spencer midway through the match. They had already been sent to the back. That plays into later, which I like. Daniel Spencer, who is the referee, is really good at getting distracted. Why are you distracted all the time, Daniel? What is it about
TNA.
you?
Listen, you could get shot. You could get shot in TNA, so you got to have your head on a swivel.
You got Frank Gastineau gets wrecked, taken out of every match. You got Daniel Spencer who gets distracted every single match.
I'd rather be distracted than getting wrecked.
Paige Prince of Ali's the only one with any sort of like comes out and is like, that's not what happened. Like you restart the match. They screwed up. She's the only one with any sort of like ethics here. She should be the new senior referee. That's what I'm on that. I'm on that train now.
I respect it. She doesn't get bamboozled. She doesn't get bamboozled.
Not at all. She's a very strong, independent woman. She don't need no man. And Eric Young. He goes for the elbow, gets crotched by Sinner and Saint. He still hits the elbow, and Sinner and Saint get involved again. Icarus doesn't wear any shoes. That's my big takeaway from this. Travis Williams hits a Claymore kick looking thing on EY for Alexander to get a jackknife pin on Eric Young. Really what matters is after the match. Eric Young immediately goes after Josh Alexander, the Northern Armory, Sinner and Saint. They take him out, and everyone's like, where's Macklin? Where's Macklin? And then they go to the back, and Macklin's been laid out, and you can assume that it was done earlier by Sinner and Saint when at the beginning of the match, Josh Alexander sent them to the back. So it was premeditated. I like this. This was smart. Josh wraps a chair around EY's legs, stomps on it. So that's going to incapacitate EY for, I don't know, the next 2 weeks or something like that. And this is fun. This is a good angle. I like that EY and Macklin are now officially a thing. And Alexander gets his cronies to work with. What do you think of all this stuff?
Not all the Canadians fighting. Oh my God.
Plus the U.S. Army veteran just getting taken out.
Macklin, like, I don't want to be no stinking tag team. And every time I turn around, I'm in a stinking tag team. I want to be my old man. I have to highlight on commentary because I have TNA Plus, which honestly, for commentary during the picture-in-picture, Ray Walt tells Hannafin, if they're his attack dogs, why did they go to the back? Huh, Tom? To which Tom responds, at least they're obedient. I could hear the sigh from Ray Walt. Mike was muted, but I could just hear him going like, yo, I hate you, bro. That was 10 out of 10 in its own. These guys Pillmanizing Eric Young's knee. If it wasn't Eric Young, I would think that was effective. I saw Eric Young get shanked and come back like it was nothing. Like you can't kill him. You can't take him out. That guy is impervious to damage. So like you said, 2 weeks at best. He coming back at Battle for Glory to medal. Like, he's fine. He's totally fine. I don't know what we do here because you're going to need a third person to deal with the Northern Armory, which is a really good name. And again, Josh Alexander could slap someone. I'd be like, what did you do to deserve to get slapped? I don't know.
I don't know who that third person is. I would like it to be Mike Santana, but Santana's in the middle of something himself.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't expect it to be, at least at Bound for Glory, I don't expect it to be him. I also don't know if Alexander is going to, I mean, maybe he has a one-on-one match with Macklin. Don't hate that. We've done this before. So you got to have some sort of stakes to it.
I mean, old boy's going to cheat unless they keep the people in the back, which I don't see happening so early in the game since they just announced themselves as a staple, unless they medal every week until Bound for Glory, if that's going to be it. Is it a Bound for Glory match?
Is it a Bound for Glory match?
Is it a post-Bound for Glory match to keep the ball rolling?
Again, you've got 5 men right now. Presumably there will be a 6th. EY and Macklin will add somebody. We don't know who it is, but when they get there, it'll play into everything else. Maybe it's Speedball after the X Division title match at Bound for Glory. I don't know if it's a 6-man at Bound for Glory. We're gonna see.
We'll see. We will see what's about to transpire.
Gia Miller's backstage with Jordynne Grace. Jordan's looking for Masha. She comes back. The kill wall is back. Dun, dun, dun. Gia Miller's very scared.
I literally wrote, oh, so they found Masha's old gimmick, I see.
My note says, she's back to being a murderous rampager. Let's go.
I'm not mad at that. I mean, honestly, I didn't hate Masha being kept away from the main event scene, but I feel like we lost the plot and we're getting back to it. So yes, meat slapping meat.
They got there. It's just it felt a little clunky from the I speak English to now we're gonna put you in a title match. Like it was like they turned Masha and then they turned her again based on this, and it was very
system works.
I mean, listen, on this, to make the same thing, you know, WWE just did this with Braun Breaker, right? He loses the Intercontinental Championship to Jey Uso, comes out the next week and says, yeah, you're the better man, you won, shook his hand, and then waited an entire week until he speared Jey Uso. So
Sometimes you got to delay the asshole. You can't have it come on full first. That sounded horrible. In my mind.
No, that was great.
I'm full of sound bites tonight.
That's right. Don't worry. There aren't enough people listening to the show to make a problem out of it. Santana comes out. My favorite part about Mike Santana's entrance is that he comes in through the crowd when he does this. When you're in a studio setting, there are only so many places from which you can enter. So Santana has to come out from not the main entrance, but like the other end of the stage.
Mm-hmm.
I just love it. They're doing their best. He calls out Moose. Moose comes out and he's got security ? Bunch of local guys. They made it very obvious. Basically, they say they can beat each other up. And then Moose is like, I ain't going to do it for free. I'm a prize fighter. You're just a poor kid from Puerto Rico, from the projects. You're a poor Puerto Rican kid from the projects. System comes in. They beat down Santana. Ace of Base make the save. Hardyz beat down the security. Santino comes out. He makes Santana versus Moose at Bound for Glory and then says to Myers and Edwards, watch this match carefully. And he starts the next match. The next match is Ace of Base versus the Hardys. Nothing happens. System interferes. Santino says, here I am again. It's a triple threat tag team title. Full Metal Mayhem at Bound for Glory for the tag titles. Let's talk about all of this because it all just kind of together. They felt like they wanted to do this one in 2 weeks of storytelling, but then they lost a week. Let's talk about Santana Moose at the middle of everything, and the triple threat tag title, Full Metal Mayhem.
I'm gonna do what you did. I'm gonna roll it off the and I'm kidding. Okay, so not mad at Mike Santana telling Moose, I get why you're afraid of me. You're afraid of me because I am what you were. I came from the mud. You came from the mud. We made a way out of no way. And now look at you forgetting who you are, but I still walk in the mud. And Moose was like, I absolutely forgot who I was. Why the fuck would I walk in the mud? That don't make no sense. I got rich. I would not go live in the hood. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. So I like the reasoning here. I like Moose telling Santana, it doesn't matter if we were the same, we're not the same now. And that's why I'm champion, or I was champion, the face of the franchise, and you're Mike Santana. The brawling was nice. The build of wrestling was nice. I'm not mad at it. The security, I hope they paid y'all. The match between the ABC and the Hardys, I actually thought that the Hardys and ABC had really good chemistry. I am a little upset at the finish, but knowing that they did lose a week, it makes sense. I could see them trying to build this up a little slower, but having the system run down and cause a DQ, man, Myers and Edwards still champion. I think that's an error. But, we'll do what we can. It's nice to see the Hardys, but like, damn, the Hardys about to eat a pin, huh? I mean, it is what it is. They've been around forever, so eating the pin is not going to hurt the Hardys. They're not going to hurt the Hardys.
The Hardys are probably going to win the tag titles at Bound for Glory.
Yo, if that happens, I would, you know what? I wouldn't even be mad at that. You go see me, just send you a video.
Why do you want the system to retain? Or do you want them to bounce back to Ace of Base after they just dropped the tag titles? It's going to be the Hardys, and it's going to be what it is.
Ace, not Austin. Chris Bay, the ultimate finesse, your girl's favorite wrestler. I'm a girl. That's my favorite wrestler. I will always root for Chris Bay. I don't care.
He rules. Listen, Ace of Base have a soft spot in my heart, too. But
you know what? You're right. The Hardys are going to win. Now that you said that, I'm like, oh, wait.
They sent the Hardys on a full-on press tour to promote the Spartanburg shows. That's all you need to know.
Yep, WB.
Yeah, start learning to dance Hardys, kids.
I'm gonna paint my face.
They don't have to go long. They just have to hold it for a quarter. They just have to hold it until January, and then they can drop the titles in some other gimmick match, a ladder match. Who knows?
Ultimate deletion with Brother Nero. Yeah, delete.
Leon Slater defeats Laredo Kid and Jason Hotch. The winner faces Speedball Mike Bailey next week on Impact. Hotch comes out like this. Jason Hotch comes out and he says he can see the future. He's going to win tonight. He's going to face Speedball next week. He's going to become the X Division champion. And then Skyler's like, well, co-champs. And I was dying. These idiots. Well, Laredo Kid doesn't eat the pin, but if there's one thing that luchadors do in TNA, what do?
They lose, and I was surprised Laredo didn't eat the pin. Sorry about it.
Leon Slater wins with a Swanton 450 on Hotch. Next week, you'll find out Speedball's Bound for Glory opponent, and you might be mega surprised.
I'll be real with you. I have, not two complaints. One, it was like, who's going to take the pin, Laredo Kid or Hotch? Because he's here. And that's going to be whoever the winner is, the other person. And we got our answer. Also, I love Speedball, but Speedball on commentary, that was a church mouse. That was a church mouse.
From my experiences chatting on and off camera with Speedball, that was right. that was right. that was right. There's something I forgot. I wish I had written it down. Oh, when he was asked, who do you want to face? And he's like, the winner. And I was like, that is the most Speedball thing you could say, and it was perfect. And I'm like, I can envision that question coming from my mouth and him saying the exact same thing.
Bro, I definitely have that note when he said I would have faced the winner. I was like, now Speedball. I know you meant that for real, but be for real, Speedball. I want to face the winner. No, Speedball.
I need fans. I need people to understand. Speedball Mike Bailey is incredibly smart and incredibly in tune with wrestling, especially in 2024. He's very good at the wrestling. He's very good at the psychology and the understanding of wrestling. I have learned so many things from him in conversation. He's done a lot. When you put him on commentary, you realize he's very smart and he's very good at this, but he's also going to be very dry about it sometimes, and just be like, it's not even dry. And it's not even dry. You know what? He's just going to be like absurdly matter of fact.
He's unintentionally funny.
Yes.
And I feel like if you don't like wrestling in a way where, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, and you know that to a lesser extent, this is not a character that he's being so fucking for real. It's not gonna be fun. Like, why is he so dry? Like, that's hilarious to me. Speedball literally say, "I want to face the winner." It's like, if I'm Ray Walt trying to do my job, I'm looking at him like, "So you ribbing me?" Who I don't want to laugh again because the whole time, even when they say he was gonna be on commentary, my first note was to say what. I love Speedball. But the three things he says, like, yo, you're not a serious person. I loved it because he ain't say shit. And maybe I liked it for the wrong reasons, but I'm dying because Ray Roll's trying to throw himself, and I can see Speedball like, shh, the match is going on.
I'm trying to watch the fight.
Fucking match.
It's like grandma being like, shh, trying to watch my stories.
Yeah, like, shut up, Ray Wall. Why are you talking? I have tears in my eyes.
So good. I wouldn't call it. Someone in the chat saying it's like he's Lance Storm was a flippy guy. It's not that though. That's the thing.
It's he's unintentionally funny because I think he's really like, this is what I do, but it's so funny because it's like, bro. Unless feeling dreepy, that's who messaged. Unless you mean Lance Storm when he's doing stuff with like Wrestling Observer, because then he's Lance Storm and he's talking. If you're talking character Lance Storm when he was boring, it's not that. But if you're talking like Lance Storm when he speaks on like Observer, then yeah, actually, it's pretty much like Lance Storm on the Observer. Like I've seen, like even when like as I frequent Speedball's Twitch, like that's literally like.
You're not going to get a guy who like screams and overreacts. Like if he'd be an awful video game streamer. And like, I'm speaking to you, Cresta. Like I know you, I know you get this. And there's one Mario Maker streamer that I watch. There's two of them that like do not emote. They have their funny stuff and they cut it out. It's funny.
It's great.
You're not going to get overreacting, screaming, "Oh my god, this game sucks!" No, you're going to get like, "Oh man, I could have done this better on that run. I'm going to do the speed run again, and I'm going to shave 0.2 seconds off of it because I'm going to do this speed run tactic." And that's watching Speedball. You're watching the technical. You're not watching the banter. You're not watching the entertainer on the microphone.
Speedball to me is an advanced level comic because he don't know that he's being funny, but he's a great straight guy. So while Hannafin and Ray Walt were like this, that, and the third, and Speedball's like, I just want to have the best division possible. Again, if I'm Ray Walt in particular, just looking at Speedball like, yo, bro, stop playing with me. Yes, feeling dreepy is so serious that it's funny. That's exactly what it is. It's beyond, to me, it's beyond the point of this guy is just spitting facts to not Speedball. Please, I'm begging you, please be for real. Because I know you're being for real, but I need you to be for real.
Just go watch. It's
good. It's great commentary for the three things he says.
That's just great. Leon Slater and Speedball are going to have a fantastic match next week. I'm looking forward to it. Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry. I laughed way too hard at Speedball saying, I want to fight the winner. I'm like,
it felt like Hannafin wanted to jump and be like, what?
I quit this chicken shit gig.
He's probably like staring, just like white knuckling the table, trying not to laugh.
And mind you, this was after they said 2 segments before, I hope he wears shoes.
That's right. Earlier, they're like, he's better be wearing shoes. And I'm like, why is Judas Icarus not wearing shoes? What is this company? What are we doing?
No shoes and you getting bit.
TNA, pay your wrestlers enough to buy shoes.
Yo, TNA is the place to be. I don't know what you're talking about. Get shanked or else.
Can confirm Speedball did wear shoes in our interview. Actually, he didn't wear them as much as he was wearing shoes when we did our interview. I think we took them off because we're Canadians. We take off our shoes when we get into people's houses. Jordynne Grace cuts a promo. She comes out towards the end of the night, says Masha Slamovich calls her out. And then Grace has the kill walls back. And I thought we agreed that we were past that. And Masha says, oh, well, I knew you would keep me close and that you knew about me speaking English. And I'm going to win the Knockouts title, and then Jordynne, you'll be living under my shadow. Masha versus Jordynne at Bound for Glory. One thing that I actually really like about this is if you know, like if you follow both of these women outside of TNA, they do a lot of content together. They do a lot, like their TikToks. They have a rapport. They have a relationship with each other. If they play into that, that's okay. But it's one of those, like, it's a bit of a wink and a nod, but it still makes sense because they have a history on TV as well. They've had fights. They've had big time matches. They alluded to the one that they had, I think it was Bound for Glory last year. They've had those moments. I love Masha versus Jordynne, and I think this is finally Masha's moment.
I almost said something unmuted, but yes, no, I agree. I've been saying that if anyone's going to dethrone Jordynne, it would be Masha, and it's definitely going to be Masha. I hope we just go right into it this time, and I might be in the minority here, but I wouldn't be mad if they hot potatoed the title between them. That's because I think these two are phenomenal. Also, it gives to me, Jordynne Grace, some time off to go do something else if she wants to, but I don't think it'd be a one and done situation. I can see that being a 3, your standard rubber match situation. I could even see it going 4 times where it ends up in like a monster's ball or something where it's like definitive. Because I think honestly too, Jordynne deserves to take some time off. She has been killing it since she's been champion. TNA, NXT, Royal Rumble, she's been doing it all. So I think as much as I call for some people to take breaks, I definitely was like, Roman, you need to take a break. Bianca, you need to take a break. Alexander, you need to take a break. I think Grace is prime for a vacation. Go to Disney World, honey. I think she's done so much that she deserves to take a break after this program with Masha, if that's what she wants to do. I'm not telling her how to live her life.
But you should.
Not do you tell her. She's not gonna pick me up and put me down or rip me like a phone book. No thanks.
Send a DM, just get the answers. Jordynne Grace's contract is set to expire at the end of this year. The hot potato thing's an idea. I wouldn't mind doing the Masha Slamovich win, and then they just have one more blow off. Jordynne, honestly, this is basically just the way Trinity left. Like, Trinity was the same way. She dropped the title and then she went and did a couple of matches on her way out, going back to WWE. You can easily just do the same thing with Jordynne. A big thank you party. Deonna Purrazzo, same thing. She on her way out had a couple of matches, and then at Final Resolution 2023, she teams up with Giselle Shaw. They have a moment. Giselle Shaw turns on her, effectively writes her off of TV, and we're done. Right? Deonna's gone from TNA. So it could be as easy as that. But we'll see what they do. I expect Masha to win it Bound for Glory. And I expect Jordynne to then say, I want my rematch. And they can do it in Winston-Salem. They can do it at Final Resolution or at Turning Point. And then move on from there.
And this is just me, personal bias journalism over here. I've always loved the idea that in TNA, at the upper echelon, at the top of the knockouts division, there are 2 strong women, whether it was Gail and Awesome Kong or Grace and Deonna, in recent time, Grace and Masha. I love the idea of 2 like super heavyweight women or just strong women. I would love before if Jordynne, whatever Jordynne decides to do, I support it because I'm a Jordynne Grace stan. I love her. But if she leaves, I would love for us to move someone else into that spot. Because I think that, to me, this is just me personally, that is part of the charm of the knockouts division. Not so much charm, but like it's a staple to me. Am I making sense? I sound crazy.
You do, but
you do.
You frequently sound crazy, but that's okay. People kind of come for that charm.
Hey, we'll take it. But yeah, like I wouldn't be mad at Masha being the flag bearer. But then for that, to me, I'm like, can we push Savannah Evans? You have the people there, Killer Kelly, congratulations, you're pregnant. I saw on the Instagram, go for you, girl. I don't know if she had the baby yet, but Killer Kelly's not there. But you've got these monsters in your back pocket that, let's say Grace does decide, hey, I'm not going to re-sign, I'm going to go do other things. Well, within her right. But I would hate for that empty other big spot to just leave, because you had Masha and Grace, and Masha to me always waiting in the wings. Even if Deonna Purrazzo and Grace left back in the day, you still had like a Chelsea Green and Evans when she was more active, even Kong for a hot second. So I don't know. I hope she stays, but I can understand if she doesn't. I love Jordynne Grace. She's fantastic and phenomenal.
And we love FightfulSelect.com, the best $5 in the business.
$5? I'm sorry.
We were the ones who broke the Jordynne Grace news. We're the ones who continue to break TNA news and MLW news and AEW news and WWE news. So you want your Wrestle Dream scoops for this weekend? That's on Saturday, but we'll have plenty of news. We had an MJF update today. He's been filming Happy Gilmore 2. That's wrapped up filming, and it was a little quicker than expected. So maybe we'll see MJF sooner than later. MVP and Chris Jericho, are they going to butt heads in AEW? Well, probably not, because over on FightfulSelect.com, best $5 in the business, we did make note that they have since made up and have been seen fraternizing backstage at AEW. Plenty of that and more. All the content. Sour Graps is there. Weekender with Steven Jensen, who will be with us for the Bound for Glory post show when that hits at the end of this month, and plenty more over on FightfulSelect.com. The best $5 in the business. Let's talk about the main event. Nick Nemeth and Joe Hendry defeat First Class. Joe Hendry gets blindsided by Casey Navarro during his entrance. The match happens. You get a Joe Jack from Joe Hendry on AJ Francis. That's what we call the knick-knack now. And then Nick Nemeth hits a standing novation. And a famous and gets the win. Cute. And then they look at each other and make boo-boo faces. You stole my move, bro.
It was very much when he did it, Nemeth looked at him like, ah. And then when he did the standing ovation, Joe Hendry was like, yeah. Standing, like you said, standing ovation. It was a nice attempt, young man.
Standing novation. I hope Nick Nemeth hits a clothesline from hell during his match at Bound for Glory.
Not the clothesline from hell. That's insane.
Well, he's got to do the thing that JBL gets him to turn heel for.
I mean, if there's anyone you're going to turn heel against, it is Joe Hendry right now, who's a lightning rod. I mean, okay, this match itself was fine. Joe Hendry deadlifting AJ Francis. Again, hate him or love him. AJ Francis is a large. That man is Brody King size. I've seen him in real life. That is a large man. I haven't seen Joe Hendry in real life, but Joe Hendry is a large man, but not as large as AJ Francis. And he picked that man up from nothing, from the grease, from the dirt. Okay. Casey Navarro got beat up. Poor young man. I'm glad he getting this shot, but he got beat up so bad. They cut the ring off. But Joe Hendry finally got in. There was a spot where I think they were doing an Irish whip in the ring or whatever it is. Joe Hendry yeets this man up over his head. Navarro damn near falls out the damn ring. I'm like, damn, Joe Hendry, why you yeeted that man like that? Wasn't mad at it. The famous sir on KC for the win, I suppose. I knew that was going to happen. Not mad at AJ Francis for always making sure that First Class gets some sort of, whether I'm losing, I'm still in the main event. You may not have liked what I said, but you cannot say I wasn't booked.
And that is TNA Impact for October 10th, 2024. Baby, we did it.
We did it, Reddit.
Cresta's back. What you got going on?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, every Wednesday you can find me over on Twitch or TikTok at Cresta Star. I am watching AEW with you. And if you follow me over on X, which is Cresta D Star, I tweet when I'm going live on various social media accounts so we can watch wrestling and wrestling adjacent things together, or we play some video games. Every Thursday and Saturdays, I am here. Every Thursdays and Saturdays, I am here at Fightful. I lost my train of thought because my brain is dumb and I short-circuited. Sorry. Every Thursday and Saturday, I'm here at Fightful for the TNA post show with Joe Pearl, and Saturdays for the Collision post show with Iridian and Rick. Won't lie to you, I am not sure what we're doing this Saturday.
There's no Collision, so there is nothing you're doing.
See you in hell, y'all. Joe Pearl, what you got going on?
Wrestle Dream is Saturday night, so there will be no AEW Collision to speak of. There will be a Rampage, but that's already been taped, so you can go find out what over there. We don't spoil here, damn it. That's for the websites. Cresta and I are back on Thursday to talk about TNA. I am in the weeds every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday over on Fightful Overbooked, our sister channel. If you haven't yet, go subscribe to that. If you haven't yet on this video, go ahead and hit a thumbs up. Subscribe to us here at youtube.com/Fightful. For Cresta Star, I am at Joel Pearl, JOELPEARL. Ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
Bye.